Today, I'm going to tell you about one of the strangest real events in European history. More than 500 years ago, something happened in a city that left people frightened and completely confused. It began when one woman stepped into the street and started to dance. But there was no festival, no celebration, no music. And according to historical accounts, she did not stop. Then something even stranger happened. Other people began dancing too. Soon, an entire city was trying to understand what was happening. Why did the dancing begin? Why did more people join? And why, after more than 500 years, do historians still disagree about what caused it? Today, we'll explore the full story and look at the theories that may explain one of history's most mysterious events. So let's go back to the summer of 1518, where this strange story began. Part 1. Strasbourg in 1518. Our story begins in Strasbourg, a city in modern-day France. But in 1518, Strasbourg was part of the Holy Roman Empire. Life there was difficult for many ordinary people. Most families depended on farming and local trade. A poor harvest could bring hunger. Disease could spread quickly. Medical knowledge was limited. People did not understand bacteria or viruses. When illness appeared, they often explained it through religion, superstition, or the beliefs of their time. Strasbourg had already experienced years of hardship. Food shortages had placed enormous pressure on many families. Disease and poverty were common. People lived with uncertainty every day. They had little control over the forces that shaped their lives. And when something frightening happened, many people believed that it could be a warning or even a punishment from God or the saints. Then, in July 1518, something happened that nobody in Strasbourg could explain. Part 2. The woman who started dancing. According to historical accounts, a woman later identified as Frau Trophäa stepped into a street in Strasbourg and began to dance. We know very little about her. We do not know exactly who she was. We do not know what she was thinking. And because these events took place more than 5 centuries ago, some details may have been changed or exaggerated over time. But the central event appears in historical records. A woman began dancing in public. At first, people watched. Perhaps they thought she was behaving strangely. Perhaps they expected her to stop after a few minutes, but she continued. Hours passed, then another day. Some later accounts say that she danced for several days, stopping only when exhaustion forced her to rest. And when she recovered, she began again. Imagine seeing the same person moving day after day. Her body is exhausted, her feet are hurting, but she keeps dancing. Nobody understands why. Nobody knows how to help. Then, the situation becomes even more difficult to explain. Other people begin to dance too. Part 3. The dancing spreads. At first, only a small number of people were involved. Then more joined. The exact number is still uncertain. Different historical accounts give different estimates. Some suggest that dozens of people were affected. Others claim that the number may have reached several hundred. We may never know the true number, but it was serious enough to concern the authorities. People were dancing in public spaces. Some appeared unable to control their movements. Some became exhausted. Today, people walk through the city without realizing that centuries ago, those same streets witnessed one of the strangest events in European history. We still do not know exactly why the dancing began. Perhaps extreme stress played a role. Perhaps fear and religious belief influenced the way people responded. Perhaps contaminated food caused unusual symptoms. Or perhaps the real explanation was lost centuries ago. But one thing is certain. What began with one woman became an event that frightened an entire city. Doctors tried to explain it. City leaders tried to control it. Religious authorities tried to stop it. And eventually, The dancing disappeared, but the mystery never did. History does not always give us clear answers. Sometimes all it leaves behind is a strange event, a few old records, and a question that refuses to disappear. So what really happened in Strasbourg in 1518? Why did one woman begin to dance? And why did so many others follow? We may never know, but more than 500 years later, the same question is still waiting for an answer. Why couldn't they stop? Some stories disappear with time, but some leave behind a mystery and refuse to be forgotten.